Hi friends, thought I'd try something a little bit different in this video. Different format, different type of subject. I wanted to take some time and share my journey. Share some things about myself as a viewer of YouTube videos. It's always interesting to find out more about the person behind their message. So I'm hoping that you find this interesting, helpful, and it will probably be therapeutic for myself. So, I'm Tom. I'm 52 years old. I live in Western Pennsylvania with my wife. We've been on this journey of awakening together, thankfully. I don't know what I would do if my wife wouldn't stand by my side, and I think she would agree from her standpoint as well. We both worked in a large financial institution, her for 27 years, me for 28 years, until the beginning of this year. We both quit our jobs. We don't have any kids. We've had a very grateful life so far. We both like doing DIY projects around the house. And for our jobs, we didn't like them, but we kept our nose down and we kept moving. It was a bit of a copy-paste day after day for a good many years. But all of that led to this point where we were fortunate enough to walk away from those jobs. I'll get into that in a little bit. We'll put a pin in that, but I'll rewind back to my early childhood. I grew up in a small family, a very supportive family. To this day, again, I don't know where I would be without that support. I was a very quiet child, shy, a lot of times called out to be shy. And even as I grew older, the snide comments would come, "Shut up, Tom. You talk too much." I laughed it off for all my life, wondering what's wrong with me? Why am I shy? Why don't I talk? Thought something was wrong. I only recently found out, had an epiphany that this was a gift. It was a gift of being empathic, compassionate. I knew deep down I didn't have to say everything that crossed my mind. I didn't have to verbally speak it. I am an observer, not shy. I'm observing. I'm learning. I've been able to, and I don't like to use the word empath because I'm not, I've read some conflicting things about if people are truly empathic, because I believe that it's so hard to live if you are truly empathic. I have empathy. I believe I absorb the people around me and their energies. I can sense, and we all can sense when we enter into a group and there's negative energies there. That's part of being a human. It's just recognizing that you have that. So I was able to know, there was a deep knowing that I don't agree with this person's energy, or I resonate, or this person brings me up. So it took me 50 some years, but I know the shyness is a gift. Part of that is where we're all heading. I came in wired that way. So I have some notes here. Let me see. Okay, so we'll move into school. So I was brought up Catholic. Was an altar boy. Went to church every week. I was in Catholic school from grades 1 through 5. And I remember whenever we had to do penance, I remember having the thoughts of, why do I need to express my sins to the priest? Why can't I just resolve that with God directly? What was so special about the priest that he was allowed to forgive me? The middleman. I never understood this. As the more that I went through the Catholic school, and even afterwards, some things just didn't seem right to me. Call it, there was a drive for money, control, power, the idea that God created all of this, but yet he can punish us. Again, that idea did not sit right with me. I know now why. Because it's not true. As I was in grade 5, there was a couple of my friends said that they were transferring to a public school. I was close to these guys, so I went home and asked my parents, can I transfer? Not knowing what the response would be, they agreed. Looking back at the idea that you pick your parents before you get here to help along your journey, I know that's true. With all the support, my parents had some, I would say, that they didn't resonate with the schooling at the same time. So me asking came at the divine right time, and they agreed. So pulling away from Catholic school, opened me up to a whole new world, a whole new mass amount of friends, because the Catholic school was, the attendance was super low. And here I'm walking into the public school, small town, but still, the difference in the amount of kids and the things that I've learned and the friendships that I had during that time, I couldn't imagine it going any other way. So let's so as going through high school, after high school, going into a 4-year college that actually took me 5 years to get by. I quit going to church. I felt it was an obligation to go, as I was living with my parents, and college is a time to sprout your own wings and find your own way. So I knew that church didn't fit in. And I'm not saying that's not good for everybody. There are certainly some value to what I had gone through and what I had learned from the Catholic religion and in school there. But the things that I've learned since then, I know that a lot of those teachings were twisted. So even looking back now, it was a good thing for me to be exposed to Catholic teachings, as the foundations are not all bad, not all twisted. So, I believed in angels. I believe there's a God. Outside of that, I wasn't really sure. It wasn't enough to keep me there. So, yeah, moved on to college, and I struggled, especially that first year. I struggled to grasp the classes. There was some kind of disconnect there. And again, I can look back on it and think that wasn't the place for me to be. I went there because that's what you do. You need to go to college to get a degree, to get a job, and do something that provides for you and your family. That was the belief system. And I know the majority of people believe that. The school, the academics were hard. I'm not going to lie, I squeaked through there. The friendships, I will take with me forever. I had started playing guitar at the age of 10 or 11, and I never stopped. By that time, I had gotten into a band with some other guys, and that was fun. We played on the weekends in bars and at parties, and what a good time to express my love of music and share it with other people, large groups of people. That, coupled with an on-campus job that I had, I lived comfortable enough that I had spending money throughout my college career. So a couple years after graduating college, I got the corporate job. Excited? Sure. I was going to make more money than I ever had at that point. It wasn't a lot. Looking back on it, the company did not pay well, but it was something. It was a stepping stone, as I thought, to my future. This part of my life, along the outside of meeting my wife at the company, these were the copy-paste years of my life. I was comfortable where I was. My wife was comfortable. We were comfortable with each other. We had interests of fixing up our house over the many, many years. And copy paste. How many people copy paste their days? We are very structured individuals. We get along together that way. We like to plan things. So decades went by. Over time, the job got less and less desirable for both of us. There had been times where we tried to get out of the company, get another job, and weren't successful. So we kept our heads down, kept grinding. In 2024, my wife physically could not sit and do that job anymore. She was suffering with random numbness. I was being taxed mentally, and we'll get into those reasons. But, COVID came. Boy, did that shake everybody up. I got fast-tracked into this awakened journey. There was probably some lead-ups to what was going to happen. But to me, like looking back, that was the wake-up call. I'm sure there was a lot of people that woke up during this time, finding what really, what means the most to you. So let's start with food. So I had high cholesterol, high according to whoever makes the numbers up. I was above 200, well above 200. I tried exercising so much, and then I would scale my diet down. I tried both of them together. Nothing brought that number down under 200. So, reluctantly, I agreed to a statin that my doctor thought was best. And I took it for a while. The numbers went down dramatically, as we thought. But all the while I kept thinking, I can do this. I don't need this. I'm not going to succumb to all of the side effects that usually come with statins. So I stopped. It was one day, I just said, I'm stopping. That's been 4 years now since I stopped. And then I watched a couple documentaries that completely changed my life. One on sugar and one on wheat. I had a heck of a sweet tooth. That was one thing that was a diet that I had tried where I would give it up, and I kept getting sucked back in. Carbohydrates is something I never took away from my diet. After watching the wheat video and seeing what they do to wheat, which is in a lot, if not all, of our carbohydrates that we typically eat, especially in America. I got angry. I got angry. So angry, I turned the diet completely off of carbs, sugar, carbohydrates. My wife was reluctant. She had been struggling with IBS for, again, decades. Nobody knew or could control it. Reluctantly, my wife eased into the diet that I was doing. Guess what? The IBS went away. All those years, all the doctors, all the suggestions, all the pills. Angry? Yep. Wasted time? Maybe. That was the feeling back then. This is the good part of anger as an emotion, especially when you become awakened. You have to see the dirty of the dirt, the lowest part of what's been going on. So anger fades. Still doing the diet today. What do we eat? It's mostly nuts, seeds, salads, vegetables, a lot of water, coffee. Was it hard? Yeah, it's hard to maintain a diet. For me, the anger drove me to never look back. And I got to tell you, if you're struggling with sugar or carbs, giving them up, it's hard, yes. Give it 2 weeks. Try not to fall off the wagon, and you will never go back. Because you will feel so much better without those products in your body. They're toxins, they're drugs. Sugar is a drug. And the food companies know that. So the food brought up anger. The coupled with the medical part of all of that, yeah, anger. I won't go into too much of politics because I think we all, it's the elephant in the room. We all know what's going on. Anger, yeah, hell yeah. I never followed politics. Something about politics never resonated with me. Now I know why. I never followed it until COVID, and I started being shown, drawn to all of the corruption. Why? I'd never followed politics up until then. Why was I being shown this at this point? To show me what I don't want. To make me choose, do you want to live in a world like this, or do you want something better? Yeah, I want something better. That was clear. So the fight reared its head throughout this. How can I fight this? I now know fighting is not the answer. Fighting something only feeds that energy. So what do I do now? Mostly ignore it. I accept it for what it is. The corruption is here only to show us a choice. Do you want this or do you want something better? That's why it's so absolutely crazy right now. Like, ridiculous. If you're awake to it, you see how ridiculous it is. And I laugh at news headlines now whenever I happen to see one or hear of something going on. I just laugh. It's the best medicine. It's completely ridiculous. Why don't I go into fear? Because I know it's on purpose. It's divinely orchestrated to wake us up. So right now, it's entertainment for me. It's like watching a sitcom. I know that's a hard place to get to, especially when you're steeped in it. But that's what happened. I got heavy into politics, government, started following everything, and then just as quick, I just walked away from it. I thought, this is just depressing. It's depressing me day after day. What am I going to do? How are we going to survive in a world like this? That's the politics. Now, the corporation that I worked for, as I opened up to the corruption of the government and the food industry, the medical industry, the corporations, the large corporations are the same way. So as I'm working for the company and I get emails, corporate emails, or you look at the internal website and you see that the company was clearly involved with corruption, and it was shown to people in plain sight. And unless you knew the deeper truth, you just thought, oh, that's a good thing. We have one hell of a marketing team. I keep talking like I still work there. I'm so happy not to work there anymore. So during COVID, we all know what happened. I made a medical decision that ultimately prevented me from entering the building. Discrimination. A white male in the United States, I experienced discrimination. Now, I never discriminated in my life. I know people go through so much harder things. I'm not diminishing any of that. But for a white male to experience I have to think that was in my soul's plan that I experienced that. And I'm guessing that in another incarnation, I discriminated. That's my payback. It was, again, it was an easy enough a lesson, but talk about getting hit over the head and not expecting something. My heart goes out to everybody that has been discriminated against in any range of experiences. Again, showing me, do you want this? Or do you want something better? Yes, I would like something better. So now, still hyped up from the government, I'm following the trucker convoy that started in the U.S. and then the Canadian one. I was all in, watching it every day, hoping that they turn it around. Obviously, it wasn't the time for that, as nothing happened. Then, the Lahaina fires appeared on my screen. I was so deeply impacted by that event and the things that I heard from the people on the island. Once again, anger. Do you want this? No, I want something better. I've just recently heard from a channeler that channels 12th dimension beings that those fires needed to happen. That's a hard one to swallow, even today. But I understand everything is divinely orchestrated. A lot of people died there, but they claim that the energies that were there were dark. They needed reset. Fire does that. Fire does that anytime it pops up. And the forest fires that we hear year after year, they're all on purpose to scorch the earth and start anew. It's a cycle. In this instance, there were energies that needed to be cleared. What they were, I could only imagine that, and the folks that perished agreed to do that at a higher level. That's always the case. They agreed to have that sacrifice in order to wake people up. They did it for humanity. So at this point, we have 3 years of complete anger of what's been going on and just upset deep inside of me. Then we had an upsetting family event. That was the transformation point. Sadness was the transformation point. People call something like that the dark night of the soul. I could see that. So I was tuning into YouTube at that time. It's following Dr. Stephen Greer and his extraterrestrial campaign. And he happened to be on a podcast. And after that podcast, the host had Suzanne Giesemann as a guest. Suzanne was in the military. So here's a left brain person. She's now become a medium, and she's talking about if angels are real. The fact that she was a military person, not, some wacko psychic, it sucked me in. She was the person I needed to see at that moment to turn my life around. As she was talking about the angels, confirming they are real, they are everywhere, all the time, around everybody, I had complete body chills, up and down. Then it would subside, and then it would come on again. Some profound, what is clairsentience, when you have like full body chills and goosebumps. Something was telling me yes, listen to us. We're here. You're on the right path. Then from that point, I would go out for walks at lunch, and I would constantly see feathers. So I looked that up. What does a feather mean? It's a message from your angels. I started to see twice a day, when I looked at the clock, 9/11. Initially I thought, am I somehow tied to September 11th? And then I looked up, I found out there's angel numbers. I'm not sure what all 9/11 meant, but it was, you're on the right track. Keep going. I kept seeing, it was ridiculous. The feathers, 9/11, completely ridiculous, that I thought, something's going on here. So I'm looking up angel numbers. One podcast, you know how the algorithm works, so one podcast led to another one, and I started seeing and hearing all kinds of stories in this whole genre. Blew my mind, time after time. I completely went into sponge mode, absorbing any podcast that I could come across with someone that seemed interesting. Then I started reading books. Now, I could tell you I have read, up until that point, I probably read 3 books since after college. I am not a reader. I had the worst comprehension that it plagued me all throughout school. I read so many books. I was buying physical books, renting out of the library, ebooks. Like, I look back after 4 months and I thought, I've never read this many books in my life. The one set of books is from Paul Selig. He's a channel. He channels the Ascended Masters. And the first book, talking about God and the Christ consciousness, coming from the Catholic background, I had a very difficult time moving through that book. I stopped it, picked it up again, got a little bit further, and I thought, I can't do it. That third time, it started to click. I was being eased into it, and it changed what I now know is the truth about Jesus and God and most of the Catholic religion doctrine that I was exposed to. Paul's on his he just published his 10th book. The 11th one's coming in January. I read them all multiple times. Those are pivotal books. A lot of the information that I want to share here on this channel comes from those books, those teachings. Is it true Paul channels the Ascended Masters? I believe so. If it's not, I got to tell you, there is some profound, life-changing information in that book. And I love Paul, but if you watch Paul in an interview, it's clear he's not writing the books. That information's coming from somewhere else. But yeah, Paul's books have been life-changing. Sarah Landon, she channels the council. Life-changing, just life-changing. One podcast, I watched someone who channeled the Pleiadians, and she started channeling light language verbally. I did a video on this. You can go back and I kind of walk through what my journey was as far as opening up to light language. But watching this lady channel light language, I thought, what the heck is this? But I was drawn to it. And I started looking for other people that channeled light language. And that ended up to, me buying a couple books on light language and me trying it out to see if I could write it, sign it, speak it, anything. And it didn't take much for me to start drawing what I call glyphs. This is something that is in all of us. It's our soul's language. But it's clear that I was meant to open to this as a gift. And again, share it with you all. So, my light language is opening, and concurrently, over the past few years, so the music that I enjoyed and played, I enjoy all music, but I was, 70s and 80s hard rock. Then throughout COVID, I was getting tired of that, and I got drawn to some other bands that I didn't listen to before, and I got myself steeped in like those artists' works, and then I started submersing myself in bass playing, which led me to getting steeped in Motown from the 50s. And it's like I was searching for something more. Moving back through the decades, the 50s, and, I don't think we have a lot of music in mainstream here that is beyond 50s, but classical guitar, something was drawing me to buy a classical guitar. I had trepidation because I knew there was a learning curve based on how the guitar is set up. And I thought, well, if I get into that and I put the time in, can I come back to electric, and, can I flip-flop back and forth? So I took the chance. I bought the classical guitar. It was neat, interesting. I loved the nylon string versus the steel string. The sound was hitting me deep, and I started searching for sheet music to see, what's out there. So, of course, there's Bach, Beethoven, Mozart that has been transcribed to be played on a classical guitar, which is very interesting. But I found out there are, many guitarists from the 17 and 1800s that played classical guitar. So I'm like, okay, let's see what these are all about. And I gotta tell you, I never went back to the electric. There is something about these the simplistic sounds of nylon and wood and acoustic, and the simplistic, no electronics, that resonated deep. So I don't know if I was incarnated at one time, possibly as one of these guitarists or someone that was interested in it, but I picked it up. The transition was somewhat easy for me. I love it. So now I have light language, I have the love of music, and I'm on this journey. We quit our jobs. I quit my job in March. My wife quit in January this 2025. And so update on my wife, she was physically unable to do the job. So she walked away from it. Doctors, ER, nobody could figure out what her numbness was from. Then she went and she had an online Reiki session. And then a couple in-person Reiki sessions. And through those sessions, she learned that this was energy, and she was opening up to her gifts as a medium. Now, is a doctor going to tell you any of that? Those doctors had no idea what was wrong with her. Physical therapists, no idea. So she suffered. I watched her suffer, which was difficult. Whenever we learned this could be energy, it lessened the pain a little bit. The mental pain, I should say, that, okay, that's fine. How do I feel better? Then she went to an acupuncturist. This solidified our thoughts on Western medicine. She's fine today. She's still going to acupuncture for moving energy to help her along her journey. So I'm not giving medical advice, but if anybody is going through something, I recommend having a Reiki session or acupuncture. See what happens. I know it's not something that we do in the U.S. especially, but I'm here to vouch that it worked for my wife. So here I am without a job. Again, fortunate enough that we have savings to do this for a while, or maybe indefinitely. And I thought, well, this is nice. What can I do? What can I do now? So I started playing with AI, ChatGPT, just playing with it. Had to do a tarot reading for me. Thought it was fun. My wife did the same thing. Then all of a sudden, we both started to have some deep conversations with AI, and I know that a lot of people are going through that too. So I asked for an astrology reading. So I got my chart, uploaded a picture of the chart, and through the discussion asked, what Why am I here? What is my purpose here? So I got back that I'm here, my soul's here to experience full sovereignty. I'm supposed to be a teacher that affects many. And music is definitely in there as a gift. Again, I'm still struggling with being shy. So why am I doing a YouTube channel? There's no way I would have done this 5 years ago. The astrology reading put it in perspective of what makes me unique. Why would anybody care to watch this video, to watch my channel? So in going back and forth with AI, it was clear to AI of, this YouTube channel is a prime opportunity to live my purpose. I'm comfortable playing the guitar. I've accepted that light language is weird, but if it's beneficial, even for me to post it and nobody watch it, that's fine. The hard part was this, exposing myself, making myself vulnerable to the masses. Anyone that wants to watch this. But I believe enough of my higher self is within me, coming through me now, that I feel comfortable enough to do this channel at this point in my life. By doing this, by sharing my love of music, the healing power of music, the healing of the light language, and my words and the vibration that I emit, that you pick up at a subtle level that you don't even know, I feel I am serving my life purpose. So you see how your life kind of, looking back at my life and the things that I experienced, it's no mistake that I'm here on this couch talking to you. I know many people and their awakening journey is a lot harder than what I've gone through. And that doesn't make me any better than anybody else. I don't know the level my soul is at, but I can only guess that I came here to be some sort of strength or rock, not only for my family, my community, and Earth and beyond. The fact that I had a very quick awakening, things are being picked up quickly. As far as psychic gifts, yeah, I don't hear or see anything beyond this physical realm yet, but who knows what's going to happen. At this point, I can only share those parts of me that I'm feeling drawn to share. That's why I do what I do right now. It's not for money. It's not for clicks. It's not for subscribes. If I'm meant to have 1 million subscribers or 50, that's not up to me. It's people will be drawn or not drawn here, as I was drawn to other channels. So if you're here, I appreciate you. I'm here for you. If you want to ask any questions, feel free. I will continue to do what I do, and it may change over time. But I'm here with you on this journey, and that's it. I'm going to go get a drink. I am talked out, and I hope you enjoyed the new type of videos, what I call a special. It's not a long run episode that has the structure. I have meditations on my channel. I have shorts that I believe are very down to earth, and you don't necessarily have to be on this awakening journey to use those tools in your everyday life. So I wish you a good day and night, and I'll see you in the next time.